fellow men in their hands. The attendance on the 2 courses of dissection could be evaded, and this was frequently done.
Hey!
The apothecary's hall had no such restriction.
Back off!
Now, good.
I got it!
Although they were quite unacquainted with human anatomy.
The ancient teachers of this science promised impossibilities and delivered nothing. The modern masters promise very little. They know that metals cannot be transmuted and that the elixir of life is a chimera. But these philosophers whose hands seem only made to dabble in dirt and their eyes to pore over the microscope or the crucible have indeed performed miracles. They penetrate into the recesses of nature and show how she works in her hiding places.
The work of such prentice hands one trembles to think of. Whatever experience these men did gain was obtained after they began to practice, and so must have been at the expense of their patients, who were generally those of the poorer class in life. It was pointed out by Mr. Guthrie that then, in the state of the law, a surgeon might be punished in one court for want of skill, and in another court, the same individual might also be punished for trying to obtain that skill.
They have discovered how the blood circulates and the nature of the air we breathe. They have acquired new and almost unlimited powers. They can command the thunders of heaven, mimic the earthquake, and even mock the invisible world with its own shadow. These were the men to whose indefatigable zeal modern philosophers were indebted to most of the foundations of their knowledge. They had left to us an easier task, to give new names and arrange in connected classifications the facts which they in great degree had been the instruments of bringing to light.
Before the Anatomy Committee in 1828, Sir Astley Cooper narrated the case of a young man who was rejected at the College of Surgeons on account of his ignorance of the parts of the body. It was found on inquiry that he was a most diligent student, and that his ignorance arose entirely from his being unable to procure that which was necessary for carrying on this part of his education. When bodies were obtained for dissection, it was generally by surreptitious means.
The labors of men of genius, however erroneously directed, scarcely ever fail in ultimately turning to the solid advantage of mankind. I am happy to have gained a disciple, and if your application equals your ability, I have no doubt of your success. Thank you. Chemistry is that branch of natural philosophy in which the greatest improvements have been made and may be made. That is why I have made it the branch of my peculiar study.
The newly made grave was too often the source of supply. At first, there was no direct trade or traffic in subjects by men who devoted all their efforts to this mode of obtaining a livelihood. The students supplied their own wants as they arose. Mr. G.S. Patterson told the committee that at St. George's Hospital, the students had to exhume bodies for their own use. In the diary of the late physician, Samuel Warren had given us a chapter on this subject, which he calls Grave Doings, and which is probably founded on fact. The object of the expedition here reported was, however, rather to obtain a valuable pathological specimen than to give a body for dissection. Writers of fiction have made use of body snatching and have given a gruesome